who had sex parties with hookers and let drug cartels foot the bill cannot be fired by their boss. That's the claim from the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration today during a heated hearing in Congress. She was trying to explain to lawmakers why those agents still have their jobs. The only punishments handed out, 2 to 10 days of unpaid leave, which one congressman calls a vacation. A Justice Department investigation exposed the scandal last month, and we reported on it here. That investigation found that drug cartels in Colombia paid for DEA agents stationed there to party with prostitutes, not once, but over and over and over again, going back a decade. The DEA administrator says that the current rules will not allow her to fire any of these agents, something lawmakers say they don't buy.
You can sit here and cry a pretty picture about how deplorable it is, but your actions suggest otherwise, because there was not the consequence that should have happened. This person is imposing a national security risk, engaging in behavior that is just, it's embarrassing that we have to talk about this.
Well, unlike many of these congressional hearings, in this case, lawmakers from both political parties seem to be in agreement on this. Really, we shouldn't let the drug cartels pay for the hookers for the DEA agents, and they let the DEA chief have it. One accusing the agency, the head of that agency, of protecting the agents by not releasing their names.
As far as protecting them, I take great offense to that.
You do. You do. You take offense that someone who runs 15 to 20 prostitution parties, abusing women, gets a 3-day, 2-day, 1-day. You're offended by that? You're offended by that?
I'm offended by their conduct. I'm offended
I don't see it,
by the behavior. I am trying to fix a system.
Despite the shock of the accusations, lawmakers seem just as fired up that the agents were able to keep their jobs. Over and over, the lawmakers returned to the DEA chief's claim that under the current system, she can't fire them.
What power do you have? You have to work with agents over whom you can't discipline and have no control, and you have no control over the security clearance. What the hell do you get to do?
What I can do is build on and improve mechanisms to make sure that the outcome is what we believe the outcome should be.
Improve mechanisms to make sure that accepting prostitutes from drug cartels is now and suddenly, all of a sudden, a fireable offense. With us now is a reporter for the magazine National Review, Jillian Melcher. She's covered many of these oversight committee hearings and was maybe, I don't know, as astounded as the Congress people?
Yeah, I think it's shocking. I mean, if having prostitutes paid for by drug cartels when you're on the job in Colombia isn't a fireable offense, I think it's hard to fathom what would be.
And this was, at the beginning of this story, when we first started covering it last month, I thought this was a one-off.
No, it appears that this happened, several times over the course of many years, and yet the DEA is saying, the best we can do, we're going to treat this as a management offense, and you might get 2 weeks suspension, or you might get nothing, and you get to keep your job despite this.
Wait, does the reporting indicate that higher-ups knew this was happening?
Yeah, in fact, they dealt with it as a management issue at the start. And I thought one quote...
What does that mean?
It's crazy. One of the inspectors who was within the DEA asking questions about it said, I asked this guy, and he looked me in the eyes, and he said no. So if he said no, the answer is no, and anything else is above my pay grade. Well, that's an entirely new approach, I think, to investigating government scandals.
Somebody said to me, well, prostitution is legal in Colombia,
yeah.
Right? And hiring the services of a Iñatera is legal. Mm-hmm. Well, but there are many drugs that might be legal in other parts of the world. Are they allowed to, for instance, do drugs in Amsterdam or Colorado?
Well, I think you saw DEA agents taking this exact same tactic. And maybe that would be the case if they were undercover, but the Colombian press has been all over this, and the Colombian press thinks that the DEA agents actually knew that the cartel was involved. That opens up suspicions of corruption, bribery, coercion, all sorts of problems within the agency, and we've got to look on top of it. This is at government-funded houses, so you've got laptops there, BlackBerries, and that's opening up whole new concerns about security as well.
And with these laptops and stuff, paid prostitutes? Yes. Funded by the cartels?
The cartels, yes. So at least we save the taxpayer.
Well, and then they got those nice unpaid vacations,
yes.
Which is really, kind of nice this time of year.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
An airport